Pandemonium Reigns.
What's happening, people? Welcome to this beautiful Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Monday evening, Tuesday, Wednesday, wherever you find us today. Thank you for letting us tickle your ears. It's a beautiful day for your ears to be tickled.
It is. It always is, especially if it's us doing the tickling.
If it's us, and it is us. Before we begin, because we got a lot to talk about here, a lot of good stuff happened on Saturday. Make sure you subscribe. Cost you nothing. We're not going to email you. Mike might send you naked pictures of his dog. He might do that, but that will be all that happens. Okay, y'all?
Yeah.
That will be it. And he's got a great dog. He actually has a cat.
Yes, I've got 2 cats. That's all you need to know about them. They're terrorists.
So make sure you go and follow. We had this incredible thing happen to us on Friday where we posted our episode, and it was about 4 times our normal daily download deal. And I just want to say thank you to you guys. You're awesome. Man, I feel like next thing to do is we need to be running for presidents of the United States.
Absolutely. We'll both pass the background check, flying colors. We're both natural born Tennesseans. What more can you ask for?
We'll start with running against Warnock and Walker. Just kidding. Hey,
Stay in our lane.
Stay in our lane. Let's talk everything outside of Tennessee on this episode here. Just highlighting, man, what went on in Columbus, Ohio. And I saw a tweet that it was the perfect embodiment of who Iowa is and any hope they wanted to win this Ohio State game. And it said, the best way Iowa can win is to keep their offense off the field. Score defensive touchdowns, score special teams touchdowns. Don't put your offense on the field. Iowa's bad. I do wonder how much longer Ferentz is going to be there in Iowa.
Man, if he keeps the son at offensive coordinator, then I mean, they're 3-4 right now. This has been it had to be the ugliest 3 wins that you've ever seen. Talk about that 2 safety, 1 field goal, 7-3 win over Dakota earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all you need to know. That summarizes the season perfectly.
Yep.
They've got to make changes. They've got to make just top to bottom offensive changes. They need to get in the portal and find a way to do that offensively, because this ain't it. This is not it.
This ain't it. This ain't it at all for them. The Big Ten West is down, and if there was ever an opportunity for them to kind of get hold of it, that was it. And there they sit at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th in that division.
Yeah,
bro, Nebraska's ahead of them.
Yeah, man. I mean, good Lord, how you let Nebraska, as down as they've been, get ahead of you in the Big Ten West? That's just rough division, man. Among the worst Power 5 division in football.
Yeah. So Iowa's bad. Ohio State's good. They're good.
Ohio State is good. They did what you should do to this Iowa team. Listen here, this popped off the page to me when I clicked into these team stats here. The time of possession favored Ohio State 30 minutes and 46 seconds to 29 minutes and 14 seconds. So
wow,
just over a minute and a half roughly of more holding the ball. That's with 6 turnovers from Iowa, 3 picks, 3 fumbles. So that's absolutely insane, man. They just did whatever they wanted to with them. Iowa totaled 158 total yards. I mean, that's terrible. That should be your worst passing performance of the year, not your worst total yards performance of the year. So just absolutely so bad. Ohio State did what they should. They're a pretty good team, no doubt.
Yeah, they can compete in any conference. They're good. They just need to start competing with people. I mean, I think they would run through an SEC schedule. I think they're that good.
Yeah.
But that's not the problem. The problem is that's not what they're doing. Their schedule is an absolute joke. And you drew Iowa from the West. I mean, whoop-dee.
Whoop-de-doo.
They're going to travel to Penn State next week. They will play at Northwestern from the you are you kidding? You drew Northwestern and Iowa from the West? Oh, and Wisconsin. My gosh. Okay.
That's absolutely atrocious.
All right.
And Ohio State's a big favorite to reflect that against Penn State next week either. So
yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, just a candy schedule in the conference, but the Big Ten West is not holding up their end of the bargain at the same time.
Not at all, man. Not at all. Not at all. Let's move to the ACC thriller in Death Valley North. Syracuse at Clemson. I want to say this and then get your comments. I think Clemson is just one college football playoff game away from being exposed.
Couldn't agree more. And the sense to me is like they're going to go in with a better defense, a lesser offense. They're going to be like the inverted version of my example from offense to defense, but they're going to go in like an Oklahoma or like USC might do this year if they were to make the playoff. I don't think they will at this point.
Yeah.
But they're going to go in and potentially, depending on who they face, they could get shut out, in my opinion. There's just so many offensive issues, especially at the quarterback position. I know that the game was turned around when Cade Klubnik entered the game, but neither quarterback did anything worth writing home about. I mean, 13 of 21 with 138 and 2 picks for DJ. Cade Klubnik was 2 or 4 for 19 yards. Will Shipley carried that team offensively yesterday.
Yeah.
And also I'll add that DJ had a fumble that went for about 106 yards to the house for Syracuse. But yeah, dude, they're on the brink of exposal. For my personal cheering stakes, I hope it happens before the playoff, as long as it's not South Carolina. But there's not many more opportunities for that to happen. So yeah, if they make it through the schedule unscathed, get into the playoff, I think they're headed for a potential shutout.
Let's play some scenarios out here. I'm going to list off several potential college playoff contenders, and you tell me if you like Clemson against any of these guys.
All right.
Georgia, Tennessee.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so we're going to pop them off by one. Okay, Georgia, no. Alabama.
No.
Tennessee.
No.
Ohio State.
Nope.
TCU.
Clemson would be favored, but I could totally see TCU winning that game. So no.
Agreed. Michigan.
That's their best chance because of Michigan's run game being their strength. That is their best chance. But I don't think they could. I think that would be a game of like 9-6, 6-9, or 6-3. I don't love them. I mean, it's a coin flip to me. So don't love them there.
Okay, one more because they should be back in conversation. Oregon.
Man, Oregon is clicking right now. If they carry that through, then no.
I stick to it. I think they're one college football playoff game away from being exposed. It could potentially even happen in their conference title game.
Absolutely, it could.
I'm not even sure who they're destined to play at this point. Looks like North Carolina. Okay. Yeah, North Carolina's sitting pretty undefeated in the conference with Georgia Tech behind them. Oh, my heavens.
Good Lord.
What is happening? So I will say this, though. That Cade kid, he's spunk, man. He's spunky. He's got a fire in him. Like, he's a competitor. Yeah. I think I've seen enough out of him, not necessarily on the stat sheet, but enough to say, hey, I think he's the guy going forward. Let's roll with him for a little while.
I agree, but even Dabo, in his weird and unknown ways, said that's not going to be the case. It said it was a relief situation, and said DJ's their QB. So I think that will get them beat at some point. Yep. That was their last great chance to lose a game until the ACC title game, but it's going to get them beat, hopefully before the playoff, because I just don't think they're worthy of making it this year.
Yeah, well, they're going to – I think we've talked about this in the past. Travel to Notre Dame, host Louisville, host a bad Miami, and play host to South Carolina. So they should win that out. But we'll see what happens there in ACC championship game when that comes time. You and I both whiffed on these 3:30 games.
Boy, did we.
We picked Ole Miss for this first one, and we picked UCLA for that next one. So, but let's talk Ole Miss and LSU just for a moment, because Ole Miss continued to run well. Zach Evans didn't play, but Judkins was 25 for 111 yards. But then after him, it was just Jackson Dart. I don't know what's going on there. And Jackson Dart, 19 for 34, 283 yards, and a pick. But dude, Jaden Daniels had a game. 21 for 28, 248, 2 scores, ran 23 times, 121 yards, 3 scores.
Dude is playing his best ball of the year right now. I mean, they beat Florida in the swamp last week. That's something that teams can certainly do this year better than other years, but not a place that teams just go in and play their best game at. They played well at Florida last week. Talk about Jaden Daniels playing his best game in purple and gold yesterday, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just in control of that game. And they're so weird to me. And I made a big deal about this. LSU was like a 1.5, 3-point favorite, depending on the timing and everything. And I thought that was the most ludicrous number of this weekend. I thought that Ole Miss would go in there and just run the ball like they've done all year. Mm-hmm. I thought that they could get to Jaden Daniels because everyone's gotten to him. And dude,
nope.
they go from down 17-3 to winning that game 45-20. I'm impressed. I really am, because things could have gotten sideways after a couple losses for Brian Kelly. So credit to him, mad credit to Jaden Daniels. Mm-hmm. Looks like the receivers are finally coming along. Talking to you, Keyshawn Booty, 4 for 43 with a long of 20. Not anything crazy, but they all had pretty nice days. Jaden Daniels, man, he's dynamic. He was absolutely in control Saturday.
3 things I want to point out about this LSU situation. 1, Keyshawn Boutte going into the season has gone from a first-round draft pick to coming back to LSU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Second thing is this LSU past 2 weeks, the victory over Florida and now a victory over Ole Miss is making this Tennessee win look a lot better.
Yes, it is.
The third thing I want to say is going back to that Tennessee LSU game, I wonder how that would have unfolded if that opening kickoff does not happen the way that it does. I wonder if we're looking not necessarily at a different outcome, but a different game, maybe a closer game.
Sure.
Because we went in there. Now, I don't think that Ole Miss and Florida got the same LSU that we did.
I agree. And I think they've improved, even though they still start games so slow and they start out in deficits of 2 touchdowns or 17 points. They do come back strong. So I wonder about that as well. But yeah, man, just an incredible performance from them to me in beating that undefeated Ole Miss team.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Currently tied for first in the West.
Wow, man. Did not see that coming.
And you and I both had Arkansas second in that division, and there they sit at the bottom. Hey, listen, the podcast is undefeated when it comes to vol football, but as far as anything else goes, we just have no idea what we're doing.
We don't know.
we have no idea. But don't hang up. Don't click the stop button and go find somebody else. We are your source.
Yes.
We are
Trust
your source.
us. Just don't bet us.
UCLA at Oregon. I feel like the world owes an apology to Bo Nix.
Do we ever, man? Talk about playing like some of the cleanest, some of the best football after that Georgia game. I mean, dude has thrown 17 touchdowns, 3 picks, 1,800 yards, and is looking more confident, or as confident as he's ever looked doing it. He's got just 10 dudes playing well around him on offense. Same thing, 11 guys playing strong on defense. And I owe him an apology because I've called him Bo Picks and didn't see him going anywhere or doing anything. And dude is having an outstanding finish to his career in Eugene.
Good for him.
Absolutely.
Like you said, he was 22 for 28, puts him at 6 incompletions. He almost had as many touchdowns as he did incompletions. 5 scores. 96.3 QBR. The only thing uglier than Bo Nix himself. Sorry, y'all. Is the uniforms that they rocked on Saturday. It looked like Oregon said, all right, they took my child who's 6 years old and they said, okay, Here's a blank sheet. Here's the outline of this uniform. Here's all the colors that you want. And she's like, give me the pink, give me the green. Let's go. It's hideous. So
Well,
bad.
I know that they had something going on with I think it was maybe intercept cancer or something, but still, like, go all pink or something. Don't do the combo that you
Go
did.
all pink.
Yeah.
Bro, you
Hot pink, highlighter pink.
what was that store in the mall? You know what I'm
Hot
talking
Topic.
about? Hot look like
No,
hot
Spencer's. I don't know. I'm so
Spencer's.
lost now.
Yes, it looked like something straight out of the mall. Hot Topic.
Yeah, it did.
What in the
Oh
world?
man.
Anyway,
not their best look.
no.
Jersey was.
No. So, with all that said, UCLA is now out of contention. You can't be in the Pac-12 and get to the playoff with a loss. Just so. With that said, the Pac-12 is out. They are done.
I agree.
I don't even know. Let's see. What's the remaining schedule here for Oregon? They're going to travel to California, to Colorado, host Washington, host Utah. So two good teams there, and then play at Oregon State. So not great, but you're thumping that you took from Georgia in week 1, especially if you have an 11-1. Let's say you have an 11-1 Ole Miss, an 11-1 Tennessee, 11-1 Alabama, maybe even an 11-1 Georgia, right? Or a 12-0 Georgia. It's just not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Just not going to happen. So Pac-12 is gone. Stinks for those guys. Was hoping I really would have been pleased to see a UCLA take on a Michigan, take on an Ohio State, take on an Alabama. That would have been fun. I would like to see Dorian Thompson-Robinson do some work there. And
absolutely.
And that dude still had a game. Still played well.
He did have a game, you know. They had a horrific second quarter. They gave up 17 points outside of that second quarter. But just got absolutely smashed in the second quarter. But I mean, he didn't have the rushing numbers that he's probably had other points, but he had 262 passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. I mean, that's not bad at all. That's not losing football from him. Mm-hmm. So they got smashed in the second quarter, and the final really reflects it.
Yep. All right, let's move it on. I'm going to give you a scenario here, and I want you to tell me the school, university that I'm talking about here. Let's say you graduated high school in 2007. Okay. And back in 2007, there was this really attractive girl. I mean, she is fine. Okay. And she's talking back and forth with you a little bit, and you've thought for a while, hey, something is there.
Yeah.
And then you graduate, you go your separate ways, and you don't hear from her for, 16 years, 15 years, something like that. And all of a sudden she comes back into the picture. She hits you up on Facebook Messenger and she says, Hey, Mikey, let's hang out. Right.
Yeah.
She's still just as beautiful. Right.
Okay.
And then you say, I would love to see you. I would love to hang out. Let's get together. I'll meet you at, the restaurant 7:00 on Friday. And you get there, but she never shows up. Who am I talking about?
Oh, man. I'd say you're talking about Kansas.
I'm talking about Kansas. They were here in 2007. They disappeared. They showed back up again, and they're gone again.
Yeah, they are. Gone they are. 28-3 at the half, and that was they fought back, but they weren't overcoming 28-3 at half against Baylor. And yet again, I bought the underdog. I bought the Cinderella, if you will. And don't listen to me. Don't bet how I tell you to bet. Don't do it. Do the opposite. Unless it's Tennessee. I'm not betting Tennessee, though.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man. Well, hate to see it, man.
Yep, that's all for Kansas. Hey, another scenario. You tell me who I'm talking about here.
All right.
Let's say you graduate high school in 2001. This beautiful girl. Turns out she's a big cheating girl from 2001. I'm just kidding. Miami.
Oh man,
it's so bad. It's just so bad. I mean, not only did you lose to Duke, you got handled. Not only did you lose to MTSU, you got handled. Cristobal is now sitting at 3-4, and he lost by 3 to the team that's currently leading that division in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Who are you? Right? What are you doing? I think here's what I think needs to happen. They need to tear down that stadium. Just tear it down. Tear it down. Go play at American Heritage High School on Saturdays, right?
Yep.
Get back in Dade County and start by selling out a stadium that holds 10,000, 20,000 people, whatever it is. Start there. Get back into the heart of Dade County. I get it. It was dangerous. I get it. The Orange Bowl was dangerous itself. It was no longer a reliable stadium. You had to tear it down. But wipe this crap out, because you can't get people to come to your games. And let's see if we can find this real quick. Gosh, it's still they still had 57,000 in there.
So they say. I'm
Right.
thinking that's the classic. We sold 57,000 tickets somehow.
Did you see it?
Yeah, dude.
It was empty.
Yeah.
It was empty.
It was comparable to UCLA and South Alabama.
57,000, my butt.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way. There's no way. You probably had more points on the board than you did people.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Well, if you're Miami, I don't know what to say about the game other than, I actually went back and watched a good amount of it. Couldn't sleep last night. They're bad. Like, that was bad. That was really, really bad. But let's go back to that thing we did with Nebraska. You're the athletic director at Miami. What are you doing?
Dude, I have no idea what you do. You have gotten, just like Nebraska did with Scott Frost, you got a very hot, very sought-after name. You've tore it up in the transfer portal, which I'm an absolute non-believer in. That thing doesn't even exist as far as I'm concerned, because there's a reason they were in the portal to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what you do. You need to do what Tennessee didn't do with Gary Patterson and hire a football coach that is so ate up with football that he can't get enough football, that he just won't do. He literally won't do media and public speaking and things like that. That's what you need, because this is painful. I mean, this is very painful. They're 3-4 with a talented team. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke was getting a lot of talk. Henry Parrish has always got a lot of talk. I mean, what do you do, man? I don't know what you do. This is why I'm not an athletic director, because if this scenario happens, I'm like, burn it all down.
Tyler Van Dyke, talking about him for a second, he was 11 for 16, 81 yards, one score, QBR of 20.2.
God, that's terrible.
So I don't know.
5 fumbles, 3 interceptions for Miami, 8 turnovers.
I'm telling you, tear down the stadium, pay the money that it takes to, or sell it. Just sell the stadium. Get rid of it. And serious, don't pay any kind of money towards a building or something. Go play at the high school. I know that I'm talking ludicrous here, but I think you're going to have to do something drastic at this point.
Absolutely.
And I do know that it's Crystal Ball's first year. I understand that he needs time. Yes, he needs time.
You're 2, isn't it? No.
You're one.
You're right.
You're one.
Dan
You're
Lanning's
one.
in Oregon for that reason. You're right.
Yep. You're one. But Duke?
MTSU? I mean, come on.
Duke lost to Kansas. Duke lost to Michael's high school crush. Going back to 2007. Okay, sorry. He's a happily married man, y'all. Okay?
Yeah.
Happily married. I know his wife myself. So anyway. Moving on, Notre Dame finds a way to get one past UNLV. Don't know, don't care. That's really all I have to say about that one.
Yep.
Texas, Oklahoma State. Bro, I could still be on track here with Oklahoma State winning that conference, but I think I ended up recanting and switching my pick to Texas. And just here to remind everybody, don't use us for your parlays.
No. Don't use us, man. Here's my issue with Texas in this game. Oh, you and I texted about the interceptions and the play calling late for Texas offensively.
Mm-hmm.
But I could have performed better, or at least shown more heart than the Texas tacklers on that last Oklahoma State touchdown. What was that?
Yep.
You're firmly in the game, and you you can't bring a guy down and you've got him outnumbered like 4-1. Like, what is that garbage? That's the crap. That's the crap that gets coaches fired, because Sarkisian is now in a very ugly, not good spot. If you want to look at the comparisons through 20 games or whatever it is, that's the crap that gets coaches fired, that demolishes morale and belief and culture, which if the culture was there, you wouldn't see that. But I thought they would listen. I think this is the closest they've gotten to being quote unquote back. This is about as close as they've gotten, and they ain't there.
No, you're right. Now, granted, there is a lot of parity in this conference, as we have mentioned, but at the end of the day, Oklahoma's still a dang good football team. You know, one loss to TCU who has proven themselves. So Oklahoma State is still at number 11 in the country. So a really good football team, but it's just the way that you handled. I don't know what that offense coordinator was thinking. I don't know what Quinn Ewers was thinking. And this is something that you and I failed to mention on the Orange Cast. They basically called play Crescent Moon.
Yeah, they did.
All right, y'all, here's the play. I throw it to the moon and you catch it.
Yeah.
That's what the play is, okay?
Yeah.
And with the down and distance that it was, why? Like, why are you doing that? It makes no sense at all. It's poor management. It's one of those plays when they're on the offensive headset and Sarkisian hears that, he goes, no. He's got to override that. Yeah, timeout. No, don't call that. Right. If you do that, I'm ripping your mullet out. So
exactly.
Anyway, just poor game management. And you know what? It stinks because Sarkisian is a really brilliant mind. You know, JP,
he is.
Our buddy, compared or put him and Josh Heupel in a very similar category. I gave when we were driving back from the Tennessee-Alabama game, I was talking with a Bama fan about this. I think Mac Jones was who he was, is who he is now because of Steve Sarkisian. Okay.
Agreed.
So what's going on? I mean, and it's not like all is lost because they're still sitting at 5-3 in the conference. But again, it really just comes down to the way that you lost that. And now you're going to travel to Manhattan, Kansas, and play a really good Kansas State team. And if we were to pick that right now, which we're not, I'm probably taking Kansas State.
100% I'm taking Kansas State if we were picking that right now.
Yeah. So Texas remains unback.
There you go. Well said.
But the Theology Bowl. Did you see that one?
You know, I snuck this game in on you late in our weekend preview, man. And Liberty was like, thank you for mentioning us. Watch us. 41-14 over the Mormons. They trailed 14-3 and they didn't give up another point.
Yeah, and the rumor is they had a Bible debate after the game was over, and Liberty won that too.
Well, no doubt they won that. They got those holy underwear. No doubt they won it.
Shots have been fired. Okay. All right. So have no comments on that because I didn't see a lick of it.
Yeah.
Wisconsin moves on. They get a win. Happy for Jim Leonard in that scenario.
Same.
If that keeps up, he's going to have that job.
Absolutely.
Which would be good for him. I like that dude. He is a Wisconsin guy, but you know, with what we're seeing now at Miami, what we saw at Nebraska, what we've seen at other places aside from Kirby Smart at Georgia, might not be the thing to do. You might not want to do that. Just because they are a Michigan man doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
So good for Wisconsin though on that end. Hey bro, did you see Vanderbilt, Missouri?
I didn't see any of that game. I think I might have saw one like little cut in clip of that game. And my understanding, tell me if I'm wrong, is that Missouri was like, listen, we wanted to lose to Auburn, so we did. Can y'all also beat us? Can you also beat us too?
Yes.
We'd like to lose this game.
Yes. Missouri's basically playing to try to get Drinkwitz fired.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
And Vanderbilt's like, thanks for handing it to us, but our hands are not big enough. We can't hold it. But maybe we can put our minds together and figure out some kind of contraption Anyway, so that was pitiful, dude. It was like it was like watching two high schools.
God.
I mean, I kid you not. It was like watching two high schools. It was just bad. It was just bad. Did you see that Stanford topped Arizona State?
I saw that there were, 29 points scored. So there was probably 27 people in attendance. Is that right?
Yeah, more than Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Stanford goes on and catches another W. Good for those guys. Let's take our time here and let's talk about Mississippi State, Alabama. Let's talk about A&M, South Carolina. Let's talk about Kansas State and TCU. But before I throw those at you very quickly, as we enter the last little segment here of our pod, Minnesota and Penn State. Who is Penn State?
Man, I don't know. Talk about LSU making Tennessee look good. Well, Penn State's out here making Michigan look good.
Yeah.
So
Good
I don't
point.
know who they are. I really don't. I don't know who they are. And we're going to learn a lot next week when they face a matchup with Ohio State. And I'll be rooting for them big time. But I just don't know who they are. I guess the thing that they are is they are a James Franklin football team where you don't often find out who they are.
Yeah. Sean Clifford might be the most unpredictable quarterback I think I've ever seen.
Spot on.
You just don't know who you're going to get. Looks like they got a good Sean Clifford that night. Anyway, Mississippi State and Alabama. Listen, this score is not indicative of the total embodiment of this game. I mean, if you go and look at the team stats, how close this really is. I mean, total yards, 293 Mississippi State to Alabama's 290. Bama passed for 260. Mississippi State passed for 230. Bama rushed for 29. Mississippi State rushed for 62. Time of possession was nearly the same. Mississippi State just couldn't find the end zone. They
couldn't find the end zone, and they were like, "Oh, I just shot myself in the foot. Now let me empty the clip into my foot." Is the way they played that game.
Yeah.
Play calling was rigid, and Leach is unadaptive. We know this. I'm so thankful that weird scenario of him coming to Tennessee didn't happen because he's got a quarterback in Will Rogers who literally already holds the career record for SEC completions. He hit 1,000 career completions against Alabama for his career.
That's crazy.
And they just did so many things to help them lose that game. They were actually, like you said, pretty good defensively. I mean, 290, 261 passing for Alabama. Bryce is going to get his. It's what he's going to do. 29 rush yards for Alabama, dude. That's phenomenal. They would give them the ball inside the 15 or the 20 and hold them to a field goal. And then they would get the ball back and be like, we don't want to score. We don't
want it.
So
we don't want it.
Completely shooting themselves in the foot, playing just a terribly unclean game. 100 penalty yards on 10 penalties. That targeting was stupid. The first targeting, there was 2 reviews for targeting. Just a textbook reason that the rule was put in place. I thought dumb hit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me bring clarity to that for a second. Even my wife was like, "It's helmet to helmet, y'all. That doesn't matter anymore. That is helmet to helmet is a thing of the past. If the defender leads with the crown of his helmet, it's targeting, period." And what baffles me is even these commentators brought up the Tennessee Bama game. The crew that was at the Tennessee Bama game versus the crew that was at this game in Tuscaloosa yesterday night. Like, they're not even 2 pages from the same book.
Exactly.
They were so polar opposite. But anyway, beside the point. Mississippi State been hanging out with Mizzou, right?
Yeah.
We don't want it. Y'all can have it. So
we're ranked. We don't want to be ranked. Here, let's lose.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And if I had said, "Hey, bro, Will Rogers going into this game is going to throw the ball 60 times," what is your thought?
That they lose by 50.
Right?
Yeah.
But they didn't. They lost by 24. They lost by 24, and the score they got was garbage time. They
absolutely.
literally scored in the final 3 seconds. It was so late they just didn't even kick the point after.
Yep.
So
remarkable.
I don't know what to say about Alabama in that regard. A lot of Alabama fans are pleased that they basically pitched a shutout after that 52 points allowed, from us. I did listen. Stop smiling. So, okay, yeah, whoop-dee. But again, the shooting in the foot analogy, again, they just kept it aimed at their foot, like pa-pow, pa-pow. Oh, first down. Watch this. Ka-chow. Yeah. Anyway, so what a letdown performance. Like, that game was boring.
Sure was.
Best. What a terrible product. In addition to that, let's talk Texas A&M and South Carolina, because that was also another snooze fest. Not to South Carolina fans, though, because they thought that, or they are still under the impression that the greatest thing has just happened. I follow this one account on TikTok called the Spurs Up Show, and he was apparently at this game. Seems like a really knowledgeable dude. If we could ever get a hold of this guy, I would actually really enjoy bringing him on. But just elated after this win. And if you saw the post game with Shane Beamer, as Mike's eyes rolls into the back of his head, says, and I just couldn't help myself because you and I were there in Knoxville last Saturday, looks around and says, "This is the best environment in college football. This is the best." Did they sell out that game? Because I want to know.
Oh man,
I want to know. Did you sell it out? Okay, good for you. You did, according to the ESPN app, at 77,000. Hey, good for you. But I'm here to tell you, South Carolina fans, you didn't get the same Texas A&M that Alabama got, for one.
Yep.
And two, they're not good. They're not
They
good.
They are potentially, no, I guess I can't make too many overreaching statements here because they're not Vanderbilt, but they are bad.
They're bad.
They are bad. They play dumb football. They're not coaching up that talent down there. They spotted you 17 points out the gate, and you held on to win 30-24 to the worst Texas A&M team that I've ever seen, the worst Jimbo team that I've ever seen. And props to you. Your best win is Kentucky without Will Levis. It's not this game. It's Kentucky without Will Levis.
Absolutely.
I mean, but what a disgusting, god-awful performance. Spencer Rattler completed less than 50% of his passes, 12 for 25, 168, no touchdowns, no picks with a QBR of 55.4. Marshawn Lloyd ran the ball really well. He is a hard runner. I still hate that guy had that early ACL injury. As I think you're laughing about probably some text that we shared about Marshawn Lloyd that I can't quite remember.
Just real quick, bro, homie, he's doing his post game interview, and homie looks like he is 7 years old, jacked on steroids. Like his shoulder pads are up to his ears, and he's just smiling ear to ear, and it looks like he's like, "Man, I'm just so excited because mommy says I get a popsicle if we win."
He does look like that. He's built now.
Oh,
he's
built.
Yeah.
He's a runner that I fear.
He
makes me afraid a little bit.
Yeah. I don't fear South Carolina, but he's probably the best offensive player that they got.
Yeah.
If not for one of those tight ends that they have.
Sure.
They completed 12 passes against this god awful Texas A&M team. And listen, there's stuff to be said for how bad Texas A&M is. There's definitively stuff to be said about how bad Carolina's offense, how bad their schemes are.
Yeah.
Their OC's got to go. And listen, if Beamer fires his OC, that's his buddy, then I'll actually be impressed a little bit by the guy. But for now, he's still a clown. He still likes to say the dumbest possible things every chance he gets. So you did what you should have done. Congrats.
Yeah. And Beamer. So I just can't get that image out of my head. I want to make a prediction because you and I have made it so far just a living on this show of just making predictions. Evan Stewart. Is it Evan? Yeah, Evan is not in College Station next year. Bold prediction, hot take, call it what you want. But if this comes under a condition, if Jimbo Fisher is still in College Station, along with the offensive coordinator is still in College Station, along with Haynes King. Evan Stewart's not there.
Totally agree. And I was meaning to look at this when I was on my initial spiel about this game, but they gave A-Chain 27 attempts, 20 carries, and he caught 7 balls. Like that's all they can do, and they did it. And again, they basically spotted 17 points initially to South Carolina between the opening kickoff. I think there was a turnover mixed in. They snapped it into Haynes King's shin and it bounced over to South Carolina.
Bro,
wow.
Did you ever find that clip? Did you ever get to see
it? I
did.
did. How magical. How truly magical was that?
I just want to say this. Is that not the most Tennessee thing ever?
It sure is. It absolutely is.
But it didn't happen to Orange and White. It happened to the Garnet and Black. And
yeah, it did.
Ha.
Suck it.
I just want the internet. I'm going to challenge the internet right here. And I'm hoping that my next words finds its way to Evan Stewart. Internet, go do your thing, go do your job. Evan Stewart, have you paid attention to what's going on in Knoxville? That's all I got. Just have you seen it? Have you seen it? Because even next year, there's this guy who can literally not throw it. Not only can he throw it over Neyland Stadium, he can throw it through Neyland Stadium. Rumor is the U.S. Navy is trying to hire him. They're trying to replace the torpedoes on the submarines with his arm.
Yeah.
So
that's what I heard. I heard that.
Evan Stewart.
Come on down, my man.
You have been served.
Come on down.
So, hey, South Carolina, they're on top of the world. I actually had a former student in Texas today and saying that they were at the game last night and said, I believe her words were, the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life, which is just
so sad.
I love this little girl. She's the most precious little thing you'll ever meet. Great family, but my heavens.
I'm so sad. I'm so sorry, little girl.
I'm so sorry. I believe she's at the engineering department at the University of South Carolina. So
okay.
Yeah, so good for her. TCU, Kansas State. Kansas State at TCU. Purple on purple. Wildcat on frog. Martinez, Dugan, Big 12. TCU rolls on. The Horned Frogs remained horned.
Undefeated Horned Frogs. I guess they're the only ones bringing those late 2000 vibes to the show anymore because Kansas has done backed out of that chat. And listen, TCU was trailing at halftime, I believe 28-17. And they were like, y'all ain't going to score again. All right. You're done scoring. A very, very tough performance from them. I did not see hardly any of this game. I was watching Alabama and Mississippi State in the most boring game, but I was with Alabama fan family, that is. So I was letting them have their moment on that day since they allowed me to have mine earlier in the day. Yeah, but mad props to TCU for that strong comeback, that really nice performance against a very solid K-State team. So, hopefully they'll find a loss here to avoid any playoff confusion unneeded, but very nice performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Deuce Vaughn still had a really good day. He was 12 for 83 yards, long of 47. I don't know if you saw this, but Martinez came out early. I didn't catch it. I don't know if it was injury. I don't know what was up there, but a guy by the name of I believe Will. Yeah, Will Howard came in from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Rose, I don't know if you saw this, but I was like, oh, this dude is big.
No, I didn't.
6'5", 235. He's a big dude.
Man.
He had a decent day. 13 for 20, 225 yards, 2 scores, 1 pick, QBR of 90.3. Carried the ball 9 times, 31 yards, and a score. So Kansas State lost by 10 without Adrian Martinez.
Yeah. And, he barely played in the game. 2 passing attempts, 1 rushing attempt. So, that's like a drive. He went out probably first or second drive. But nice performance, man. That Big 12 continuing the parody. They just are like, listen, this is how it used to be. Watch us. So, very, very nice game. And impressed with TCU in that big comeback.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The day was rounded off with games. Pitt at Louisville. Pitt drops another one to Louisville. I just don't. I have, maybe this is the bias, but I guess everybody else is not getting the same Pitt that we got.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's going on there. Pitt now sits at
4-3.
4-3. All right. But the day was rounded out at the end of the night with Marshawn Lynch going on, dropping words on national television. And dude, that dude is just a character.
He sure is, man.
He's just a character. Washington defeating Cal, and Lynch calling Cal fans to the carpet and telling them to get their butts to the games. I want to use that to segue into the rest of the conversation of what's going on in the rest of the country. UCLA is now out of the playoff picture. Does USC still have a chance? Nope, they lost to Utah, so they're out.
Yeah.
Do we have any clear understanding of how the departure of the Trojans and the Bruins, of how that's going to affect the Pac-12?
I've not seen anything new. In fact, the last thing I recall was some Board of Regents, some kind of weird talk from UCLA as in, hold on, my friend, not so fast, my friend, was kind of the vibe that I gathered most recently from UCLA. And you would certainly think that they have to be a package. I mean, you're not going to see an odd number of teams in the Big Ten, I don't think. So yeah, I don't know what the latest is. Didn't look too promising or too easy for UCLA's path there, but I don't know the latest because I am so disgusted by that conversation. I haven't looked in a while as well.
Well, we don't know all the pieces, but let's just, for the sake of conversation, let's not focus on the Big Ten, but let's go ahead and move USC and UCLA that way, okay? So take them out of the Pac-12 conversation. Let's get back to what is now known the Pac-10. What are you making of this conference as it stands right now? You remove the Bruins, remove the Trojans. Talk Ducks, talk Huskies, talk Utes, and whatever's left.
Man, Oregon and Utah are by far your prettiest, your most darling programs. Both took losses. Both took a loss, at least one. Utah took a couple, I know. And then you got Washington, who I'm hopeful for. They do have a veteran quarterback in Michael Penix. I hope they have a plan for after him because surely he's a senior by now. So I wonder about their longevity after Michael Penix is gone. For the life of me, other than the competition of the conference and maybe lack of prestige, I just don't know why you can't get talent and win it at the Arizona schools. I don't understand it. I don't understand why Herm Edwards was their last head coaching choice at Arizona State, because he was old when he took the job, and there certainly wasn't any talk about playoffs at that time. So I don't know why that was their move. I don't understand why those schools can't be successful. There's a lot of talent down there. It all gets poached. I understand that. There's a lot of speed down there. Mm-hmm. Should be able to hit the California kids to an extent. Mm-hmm. All that said, not a pretty look, not a great vibe for me for that conference once this season gets over and there's some unknowns at Washington. Kyle Whittingham's getting on up there in years and experience. How long will he remain at Utah? Mm-hmm. And then you would think that if Dan Lanning is good, he could be there as long as he wanted to.
Yeah.
But you can't have a one-team conference. It just doesn't work like that.
Right. No, you're right. You and I have, again, made a living off of our conversations one-on-one off these hypotheticals and what would you do and stuff like that. So if the scenario or the variable is conference expansion has to happen, that mega conference has to happen, I think what I would much rather see than USC and UCLA to the Big Ten, Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. I think that I would like to see Texas and Oklahoma West to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and throw in a Oklahoma State, and let's go ahead and throw in a Kansas State. Let's go ahead and throw in probably a Nebraska, even though I know they're Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
And let's make a West call it west of the Mississippi Mega Conference.
Yeah.
West of the Mississippi. Okay. And then from there, let's take the ACC and let's do 3 super conferences, and let's kind of split those guys north and south.
Yeah.
The northern guys go Big Ten, southern guys go SEC. I think no matter what way you split this up, divide it, your SEC is still going to be your superior conference. I don't know how, no matter what way you shake this up, slice it, dice it, doesn't matter. But, and the reason I say this, USC and UCLA to the Big Ten is just ludicrous. It is absolutely
so dumb.
Ludicrous. And it's all because of dang money, right?
Yep.
Messing this up. I'm hoping that in the end, if you want to piggyback off this, but I'm hoping that in the end, that all of this are just moves to ultimately secede from the NCAA as a whole. And then once it's settled down, they can go, all right, let's all go back to our own places.
I would love for that to be the case, but I've got too many friends that dabble into the TV market concerns and the money concerns from that and the impacts of that. The Big Ten is just too excited about getting teams to Los Angeles, which is so dumb because your divisional opponents will play them annually. So they'll go there every other year. But for your other teams, I mean, once every 3 or 4 years at best with expansion, it's so dumb. It carries so little weight to me. And, you know, I guess that I wasn't too worried about USC and UCLA, how they would handle a Big Ten competition. Part of that's just because I don't care. Mm-hmm. But Texas and Oklahoma, man, those guys are going to get slaughtered. They can't get back against these Big 12 defenses, so they're going to get absolutely clamped down, I think, once they get to the SEC. And then their defenses are going to get torched. But, I mean, even for USC and UCLA, you know, I have concerns about them playing in cold weather for half their games and playing in snow and traveling across the country. I don't think they'll lose at Rutgers, but they could. And, I mean, it's just so dumb and brings in so many things that lessen what's great about the sport for me.
Absolutely. I heard. So we've got a couple people from the church who actually have exodus out of California and have made their way to Georgia. Some Trojan fans, some Bruin fans. And one argument I heard recently was, and I hope he's listening, was that, well, USC traveled to Notre Dame every other year anyway. Bro, one trip to South Bend every other year is not the same as going to Lincoln, Indiana, Champaign, Madison. Come on, dude. You have now canceled trips to Berkeley, California, to Tempe, Arizona, to Boulder, Colorado, and you've traded that for essentially Piscataway, New Jersey.
That's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
So, you know what? I mean, West Virginia has been doing this Big 12 thing for, you know, a while now, where they'll travel to Austin, they'll travel to Norman. That's a long journey. Okay.
Yes, it is.
But Los Angeles on the border, on the southwest border of our country, to every other week to Lincoln and Madison. Come on now. Not the same.
They won't travel 10,000 people ever. They'll never do it.
Oh, gosh. No. Oh, yeah. And how do you feel if you are a Trojan fan or a Bruin fan? Man, that stinks.
Betrayed, but I think they just care as little as this means to us and as bad as we hate it. I think that's where they're at on attending games because they can't go to home games as it is. So,
yeah. All right, well, let's keep this in the – yeah, it sucks. Let's keep this in the national spotlight. I asked you this on the last episode. Does your top 4 change at all?
I believe I had Clemson in my top 4 when we talked on Thursday evening.
You and I both did, yep.
And that was – boy, they really made me consider that. What sucks is their schedule is not challenging enough for them to lose a non-ACC title game to me. I don't think South Carolina can keep it close with them. Don't like any of the other matchups that they have for the opponents. Heck, I don't even like UNC if they play them in the ACC title game. So everything else is on the table for me, but I think they're going to be exposed when they get there, like we talked about earlier.
So your top 4 remains.
Yep.
Do you remember who it was?
I believe I had Clemson, Michigan, and then I believe I had Tennessee and Georgia.
Clemson, Michigan, Tennessee, Georgia. I think that sounds about right. No changes to my top 4. I believe mine was similar. Clemson, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State is what I went with. I'm not quite sure. There's still just a lot of uncertainty even sitting here at week 8. You know, that week 14 big game, Ohio State, Michigan, the committee is just got to be begging for that to be lopsided, right?
Yeah.
The committee has got to just be begging for Atlanta to be lopsided, right? Yep. They have got to be begging for whoever wins in Athens in 2 weeks to just kind of run through it, right? Yep. Because TCU is seriously in this conversation, and Michigan is serious in this conversation. Ohio State serious in this conversation. Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Clemson is seriously in the conversation.
Yep.
Our role, as it may seem, they are. So, does your Heisman stance change at all?
Heisman Hooker. Nothing changes.
Heisman Hooker. Best quarterback in the country right now, Hendon Hooker?
Well, I didn't watch C.J. Stroud this weekend because I knew that would be a terrible game with Iowa, and it, I think, coincided with the time of the Tennessee game. But, yeah, I'm still going to stick by it for right now. You know, if you want to talk about all the tools, maybe not. But talk about the Heisman Trophy Award, yes.
I'm just telling y'all, wherever this man goes, as far as the NFL, wherever Hendon ends up, it's going to be hard for me not to be a fan of that team.
Forget about the Titans. I forgot about the Falcons 6 years ago when they broke my heart in the Super Bowl. Forget about them all.
We need to do a whole episode, you know, just dedicated to great fits for Hendon Hooker, great fits for, you know, even the rest of those prospects who will be in the draft to see Stroud and the Sam Hartman and names like that. That'd be a lot of fun. We'll put that on deck for you guys. I will say this, and I'll end the show by saying this. If Hendon Hooker gets drafted by the Colts, it's probably just a done deal. I'm probably just a Colts fan. I mean,
probably
just a done, because you're talking about Peyton and now Hendon, bro. I mean, and that right there is a test, Michael. It is a test to see if my nephew listens to this show.
We wait, we see.
Jared, you have been, what's the word? Poked? Like on Facebook?
Yes.
You are poked. Hey guys, thanks for spending your time with us. This has been a bit of a longer one, but a lot of stuff went on this past Saturday. Fun stuff to talk about. The season is bringing a little more clarity to itself. Excited to see the college football rankings coming up whenever that should be. I thought that was going to be today, but
no, I think we've got one more week. Maybe one more week, maybe two. No, it's a midweek event, so it'll be after next week's games.
Okay, I thought it came after week 8, which was yesterday.
I think I saw November 1st as the day for it to be out, so that's what was really confusing me because I was like, that's not a Saturday or a Sunday.
Okay.
But yeah.
Again, we are not your most reliable source for information, but we are here to give our opinion on it. That's for sure. Thanks again for spending your time with us. Make sure you go subscribe. Again, you'll not get emails. We'll not bother you. It just helps us out so much. And Michael has made a deal that if we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, and if we double, like I think he said, if we up 200% in total downloads on these episodes, he will start an OnlyFans account.
Listen, I almost made a bet. Like, I don't know. There's nobody to bet. I almost just said like I was going to do something ridiculous if we beat Alabama. So I think it's time to make that official. And I'll say this, not going to say it for the Georgia game because as unlikely as it may be, Tennessee has had no limitations this year. They've won despite the defense. They've won despite everything. If Tennessee wins the Natty, I will either get another tattoo, or I will shave off the most ridiculous lamb chops that the internet's ever seen, and I'll just roll with them. Anytime we record, that's what you'll have.
And then you'll put it on OnlyFans?
Yeah. Those are the prereqs.
Okay. I'm very curious to know what the potential tattoo could be, but I am totally here for it. I want it to be a nice combination of Philip Fulmer and a pumpkin.
I've had the pumpkins here for about a month, so they're going to have to go here shortly.
No, I want it on your body.
You got it.
On your
Pandemonium Reigns.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Pandemonium Reigns. Thank you for letting us tickle your ears. Again, make sure you subscribe, follow, tell your friends about us. We're good people. We really are. Have a great day. Have a great night wherever you are. God bless and go Balls.
Pandemonium Reigns.